three words to describe me right now are intentional,
passionate,
honest,
laid back.
I feel like I'm funny. Say funny,
loyal,
determined,
caring.
loving, and a little tenacious. Hi, I'm Michelle Ruffalo.
My name is Courtney.
I'm Nicole, and I am a licensed midwife with Tampa Bay Midwives.
Tampa Bay Midwives came about at the time in the news. There was a lot of articles about the maternal health crisis that is technically worldwide, but specifically, looking into the US, how our rates have gone up for, maternal and infant deaths. They really haven't gone down. Being the most country that spends the most on medicine and healthcare, just the numbers were appalling. And at the time, I was not practicing, and that is just, I was like, I have to get back to it, and I have to make a difference. So I went ahead and started Tampa Bay Midwives, and we are a home birth practice, and I'm blessed to have some really great partners.
I have been a midwife since 2017. I started out in, where was I? In Sanford, Florida, which it was nice, but it wasn't home for me. So then I moved back home. I took a little hiatus from midwifery, and then I started back working at Labor of Love in 2020. So my story goes way, way back to when I was a little girl. I always said that I wanted to deliver babies. And that, like, I literally stuck to that forever. Middle school career day, I dressed up as an OB. And then I went to the University of Florida on a pre-med track with plans to be an obstetrician. At UF, they make you take elective courses outside of your major just to kind of see what else is out there. I took a women's studies course, and they played The Business of Being Born in that class, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is actually what I want to do. Like, I don't want to do biology and all of this other hard science classes. Like, that just was not it for me. So then I did a little bit more research, and I found the midwife school in Gainesville was literally up the street from my apartment. So I finished up at UF, and then I enrolled and got accepted into the Florida School of Traditional Midwifery, and that is where everything started.
I always wanted to be a midwife since I've been about 17, but my life took me in a different direction. When I kept going back to it, the only way to go into midwifery was to go the certified nurse midwifery route. And after working with physicians as a medical assistant for 5 years, I decided I did not want to be a nurse, even though I had all my prerequisitions. And I worked for Healthy Start for about 5 years, and one of the local midwives met me for lunch and told me that her daughter was going to Florida School of Traditional Midwifery. And I was like, wow, okay, I'd have someone to ride with. And I went home, put in my application, had my interview, got accepted, and went home and told my husband I'm going to midwifery school. I graduated in 2010, so I've been practicing since my birthday of 2010.
So my story begins back in 2003. I was 9, and my sister was about to have her second baby. She was delivering in the hospital, and she invited my mom and I to come into the room with her while she was pushing. And so the two of us were in there. We were standing in the corner of the room facing my sister. And I just remember being so amazed at what I was seeing, of watching the baby actually be born, and then later watching the placenta be delivered and all of that. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. My sister tells a bit of a different story and says that I had the most horrified look on my face, but I remember being really cool. And the doctors were great and like gave me a little tour of the placenta and taught me, what it is and how it works. And I fell in love with, delivery and pregnancy and everything right then and there. And it was from that point on that I knew that I wanted to be in the field with babies and pregnancy and, deliveries and everything like that. I intended to go to medical school and become an obstetrician. So I went to college, got a degree in biology, and I realized that I wasn't getting good enough grades to get into medical school. And so I took some time and tried to figure out, okay, I still want to be in this type of field, but obviously I can't go to med school. And it was around this time that I was interested in the TLC show 19 Kids and Counting with the Duggars. And some of the older daughters in that show were midwives. And that was the first time I'd ever heard about midwives, because where I grew up in Illinois, that wasn't really a thing. I didn't know anybody that had a home birth or birth outside of a hospital. And so this exposure on TV was the first time that I learned about midwives. And I did some research and I was like, this is really cool. I want to be a midwife. And so after I graduated college, I took some time off and eventually I started doing my prerequisites to get into nursing school because I was going to become a certified nurse midwife. I got all of those done. I was applying to nursing school when something stopped me and I was like, I don't want to be a nurse. I just want to be a midwife. And so did some more research, discovered direct entry midwives and a school in Gainesville, Florida. And I was like, yes, this is it. I don't want to be in a hospital. I want to be at home or in a birth center with people birthing naturally, because I always envisioned for myself having a water birth. And so I was like, why wouldn't I want to help other people achieve that dream? So I went to midwifery school and graduated in August 2023 and got licensed as a midwife a month later.
Being a midwife, you definitely need a lot of support. I have my wonderful husband who also was one of the people that pushed me back into midwifery. And then I have my sweet baby girl, Mila. I wouldn't call her supportive right now. One day she's going to look back on this. I'm sorry, baby girl, but you are not supportive right now. You don't sleep. We don't sleep. And then I have my in-laws who are super supportive. My mom, my dad, my grannies. I have a really good support system because in midwifery, you need it.
So I am currently single and I don't have any kids, but I want both of those things someday. It's just really hard to find a wife in this day and age. But one day I will, and I'll have some kids. I don't have any nuclear family, so to speak, but I have a great support system through friends and coworkers, my siblings back in Illinois, and I am very grateful to all of the people that supported me throughout my journey to become a midwife and are currently still supporting me in my endeavors.
My husband has been supportive of me from the very beginning, and I have a son who's also 120% behind me, and they support me in all different kinds of ways. They feed me, they love me, they, pick me up, they do whatever they need. I think the biggest thing that I've always wanted to get across to women is that you have choices, that you have a voice, that you can get the care, or at least attempt to get the care that you want and you need. You have the choice to say no. You have the choice to say, I want another physician. You have the power, even though other care providers make you think that you don't, but you do. You have the power and you have the choice to choose where you have your baby and how you want to have your baby. That should not be dictated to you by ACOG or other entities out there, and it should not be dictated to you by your insurance. So there's a lot of work to still be done, women to have that autonomy and to have that power. But if I can empower women to be able to just, be proactive and advocate for themselves, then I am happy. And if whether you birth at a hospital, you birth at home, you birth at a birth center, that doesn't matter. Just know you have a choice.
If I had to give any advice, I would say to listen to your instincts, and if something doesn't seem right to you, it's probably not. So find a provider who will listen to you and will help you make the best decision possible for you. I would also encourage everyone to hire a doula because they are fantastic and we love them.
If I had to leave people with some advice, it would just be to do your research. We grow up hearing about going to the hospital and having babies, and that is not the end all be all. There's so many different ways to get the birth that you want. So I think doing some research and figuring out what you want in your birth story is going to be really important. And hopefully Tampa Bay Midwives will be a part of that story.